Here's the jank ad that he made, apparently. Hashtag jank for America.
We get all the sandwich stuff for the kids' lunch. They don't like turkey anymore.
Yeah, I know.
What about the bananas?
Yeah, I got them too. But, honey,
What?
you're gonna have to put those eggs back.
They don't like eggs anymore?
No, they like eggs, but we have to set that $7 aside for killing Palestinians.
What? I mean, don't we give Israel $4 billion a year anyways?
Yeah, and now we're giving them another $14 billion. Do you know how much that is per American taxpayer?
No.
It's like $85 per person. Apparently it's costing us a lot of money to drop bombs on Gaza.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Don't they get universal health care too?
Yeah, they do. We're paying for that too, probably. Might as well put the bananas back.
Why the do we have to pay for all of this?
Don't cuss at me.
I'm Cenk Uygur, and I approve this message. Let's save lives.
That's a solid ad, baby. Reactionary bait? What do you mean? That's a great ad. It's reactionary bait in the best goddamn way possible because it quite literally, I find the per person in tax to be so dumb, though. Conservatives use it all the time and it makes no sense. Sorry, I'm being an annoying nerd about it. I just don't think it behooves the left to use it when it's convenient. No, I think it's great. It's a great way to make people understand personally what like the amount of impact that money could have. Obviously, that's not how these things work at all, but it doesn't matter. What matters is $14 billion is going to Israel to do ethnic cleansing. Bro, you guys keep linking me this. I saw, man. I saw. New jank ad shows a woman who can't buy eggs because Biden needs money to kill Palestinians. The tank is using the genocide Joe argument that tank is re-election and get Trump back in the White House. Yeah. Classic tanky Cenk Uygur, okay? I guess in a way he's closer to like being a tanky because of how reactionary he is about dealing with crime. But it's genocide argument, genocide Joe argument. That's all you need to understand about that side of the internet and how they analyze the news and information and how delusional they are otherwise about like real world things that are occurring, other than thinking that it's just simply a genocide argument. Also, saying Cenk is a tanky is fucking awesome. Like he literally wants to run for president as a Democratic Party person. Yeah, the ad is pretty good. We watched it. We watched it yesterday. I think it's like good to show the dollar value because I was having a conversation with my French buddies last night about like American taxes, especially in a place like California. And they had absolutely no idea. A lot of people that are outside of the United States of America think that Americans don't pay any taxes at all. There's this meta that under our progressive taxation structure, our income taxes are actually quite low. And this is completely and utterly incorrect. Unless your money is unless all of your assets are in the stock market, you absolutely do pay a relatively high tax rate, especially if you're at the top marginal tax rate. So for me in California, the top marginal tax rate hits me 37% for federal and 13% for state. And it's really funny because they were just shocked. Okay, they were like, what do you mean? What do you mean you pay like 50% for your top marginal tax rate? That makes no sense whatsoever. But the reason why they were saying that and the reason why they were shocked to find this out is because we get no amenities. So they're like, where does the taxes go? Like, where do they go? I don't understand. You have no health care. You have nothing. Your roads are awful. And then I sat down and explained to them how the military-industrial complex works and how it is just a way to recycle funds directly back into doing more war and waging more war and selling more weapons that we already purchase ahead of time from companies that we subsidize with tax dollars. But yeah, if you live in, for example, if you live in California and are in the top marginal tax rate, if you're fortunate enough to be there, you're paying 50%. It's true. Where did the California taxes go? I don't know. Projects that never actually end up getting built. And also, my lord, you shouldn't play so much. What do you mean? I'm not even... dude, I have no issue with paying taxes, as you guys know. What I do have an issue with is how those taxes are spent. I think it is patriotic to pay taxes. I think it's a good thing to pay taxes. It's the only real patriotism. Because... even though the distribution of those resources are complete ass cheeks in the United States of America, especially right now, still a decent amount of it goes to places that absolutely need it, like schools. You know, your income, I mean, your like my property taxes go into funding the public education structure, and I think that that's a good thing. Okay, I think that's a wonderful thing. Some of it goes to roads, some of it goes to infrastructure, even if it's a tiny margin of it. So I think no matter what, like it's still a good thing. It's still a wonderful thing, and I feel good, and I don't mind it. I do think that we need to overhaul our tax structure as far as like how we tax assets in general, because I think a lot of the assets are hidden in the United States of America. That's another thing I was trying to explain to people about, explain to the Frenchies about how, like, remember how during the Panama Papers we didn't have any American names leak? That's because we don't need to go to Panama, or we don't need to go to the Seychelles to create shell companies. We can just go to a different state and legally do it. That's right. A lot of things that are classified as assets are just reclassified income, like executive compensation with options. Yep. But that's also a tiny percentage of that's a tiny sliver as well. Business expenses also. Well, business expenses and deductions only lower your tax burden, right? And that is not even what I'm talking about. That also exists in France too. What I'm talking about specifically is how the top 1% of 1%, like the real money havers, how they operate, and how much income we just kind of leave out there in the ether to grow and grow and grow and exacerbate income inequality, and how much of that could go back to, how much that could be just simply taken out of the economy if you're a MMT guy. You know what I mean? Especially because, like, in America, money is extra fake. Capital gains needs to have several more tax brackets. No reason why $1 million in capital gains is 20% and $1 billion in capital gains is also 20%. Yeah. Also, you have another issue with Social Security. Social Security top earners, it caps out at like what, $175,000 or something. So it doesn't matter if you're making 175 grand a year or making $174 million a year, you're still paying the same tax. It's insane. It's like, are you out of your mind? That's unimaginable to me. Republicans love talking about how Social Security is going to be defunded. Social Security is going to be defunded. And it's like, bitch, you fund it then. The do you mean? But yeah, it was really fun. It's always really fun. If you have any European friends, try to describe to them the concept of an HMO versus a PPO and have their minds melt right in front of your eyes, where they're like, this is a crime, which it is. It literally is. Talk to any European person or anyone with like some understanding of like socialized medicine and healthcare that's government funded and government provided, and then explain to them the concepts of insurance networks. So like, not only are you, or the concept of insurance in general for healthcare, health insurance in general, the fact that it's tied to your, I explained to them COBRA, for example. For those of you who don't know what COBRA is the wonderful patchwork solution that the Democrats fought hard for. Shouldn't you be excited? Where if you lose your job because your healthcare is tied to your goddamn job, you can still have the privilege to pay out of pocket the premiums and the deductibles, or the premiums for your healthcare, except you can stay on the same plan, which is great, except it's insanely expensive, and you're doing this insanely expensive, insanely costly thing while simultaneously you're out of a job. That's the good solution. That's the good patchwork solution. It's sick, dude. And then I explained to them the fact that corporate healthcare is better in America, and if you are a sole healthcare purchaser, even if you're rich, you can't buy the same level of healthcare. You have to go to a broker, and then the broker like sifts through all of the available healthcare, and even then it's like the all access premium, no network gaps coverage that you normally could get with like normally you would get with your job, you can't get on your own. Yeah, that's right. Insurance providers only sell full coverage insurance usually to they only sell it to corporations. So like if you look at like the gold packages or the platinum packages and you're like, I want to buy this as a standalone individual, they're like, nope, you can't buy it. That's right. That's corporate insurance only. How fucking sick is that? And then we talked about how you know, so there's like extra billing too. Healthcare brokers. I'm Canadian. I'm still confused with the concept of stuff like copays. Yes. And then of course, then you think about how expensive healthcare is, and then you begin to understand why our GDP is so high. And it's like, yeah, dude. It's high because a lot of this shit is like incredibly costly. Why is it incredibly costly? Because capitalism is very innovative. It's just not innovative in the way that you understand innovation. It's innovative in the field, in one field only, and that is creating new middle managers, creating new mediators that will also tack on to the overall cost of the regular thing that you would normally purchase. Insurance providers have no interest in like genuinely lowering the healthcare costs. They're working alongside the hospital networks oftentimes, which are also heavily subsidized by the government regardless. In America, we literally do all the things. We pay a decent amount of taxes, especially if you're in a lower tax bracket. You straight up are paying a ginormous chunk of your yearly income. Okay, like the yearly amount of revenue that you bring in comparison to a wealthy person who doesn't give even like 0.0001% of their yearly increase of their net worth. All of this spurned out of one of the Frenchies saying that the house that they were staying at, the heat broke. Like apparently the heater broke in their house. And one of them realized America is wonderful and it's awesome until you have a problem. One problem, and then you're like they brought it back to healthcare basically, where they're like, everything is great. This is La La Land. This is Disneyland until you have an issue, and then you're just so you're so unimaginably. The U.S. pays more for healthcare than other OECD countries. Yup, and we have worse health outcomes than most health on most health metrics. 100%. We're like number 37, I think, in overall health outcomes across the board. And that is there are 1,000 different reasons for it, but like in the most reductive terms, I think like having a massive multi-billion-dollar for-profit industry slapped into the middle of it all that spends hundreds of millions of dollars in lobbying to make sure that we never, ever, ever change the healthcare system plays a big role. The U.S. has lower life expectancy than Algeria, a poor African country that was in a civil war a few years ago. Yep. Will your John Brown hunting hat be restocked anytime soon? Probably not. What is this? Can you please explain why it is legal for those health insurance companies to only sell full coverage to corporations? I'm Belgian and insanely worried / confused. What do you mean? It's America, baby. There is no answer to that question other than money. Cha-ching. I don't think you get it. America is 5 corporations in a trench coat, and we have no recourse. We have no legal recourse. We have no protections, and everything is all right. Let's get to the glorious People's Republic of China. Chinese live streamer who spends 3 seconds promoting each product made 18.7 million in 7 days. Look at this. I've seen this video. It's incredible, dude. Look at this.
14块钱换22双，8块。8块。